I did set out to write a book on the Psalms, and I was very interested in that. And I had no desire to change much of what my faith was, other than to deepen it and to trust God more. When I interviewed Doug Anderson, a Vietnam vet who is a friend of mine, a poet, scholar, beautiful writer, when I interviewed him and he talked to me about Psalm 23, just over that ordinary dinner, and I have the dialogue in the book, just this ordinary dinner, he said something about Psalm 23 about a shepherd. And he said, well, you know, a shepherd knows where all the sheep are. A shepherd, he gave this definition of what a shepherd is that just kind of shocked me into this other understanding of what a shepherd is. And I thought about that for months. I had interviewed Doug in March, and then I was working on the book March, April, May, June, and something just started to shift for me about Psalm 23, where I thought, I've always loved in Mass, Lamb of God, you take away the sins of the world. I've always loved that part, but I never really thought about it. And then all of a sudden I started understanding these connections to shepherd and sheep and being lost, that I was lost. And it was almost as if I realized that I had this false pride. Well, if Jesus is going to go after everybody, including a lost lamb, why would that not be me? And it just sounds so simple, but it just got deeper in a way. And I had had that experience in the chapter called Billboard, the billboard. I had an experience seeing a billboard that said Jesus down in Georgia. And it had gotten me reflecting on when my grandmother had died. So all the threads kind of started to connect with each other. And I had realized that I had felt, it really was my feelings of being unworthy, that I've always had a faith in God. I've always been connected to God, but Jesus in particular, I felt unworthy. And I don't know where that came from. I don't know what that's about. I just know that at the end of writing this book, something has shifted. And I was very hesitant to put it in the book because I felt so vulnerable, and yet I had made a commitment to tell the truth of my journey. And I just didn't see it going in that direction. That is not what I anticipated. So everything started to interconnect for me with, yes, I'd always wondered why, if Jesus is on the cross saying, you know, why have you abandoned me? And it's in the Psalms. I was like, what is that about? I never understood that during Holy Week. And then when I started to look into it, and I started learning that Jesus would have sung all the Psalms, understood the Psalms were a part of his life, and that he turned to the Psalms to express himself, I was very undone by that. It moved me so much that they were that important, that useful even, and that interconnected between Old Testament and New Testament. So just sort of simple building blocks, and they're simple connections, but they're very deep and beautiful.